The sound of the front door clicking shut echoed through the house, a noise I'd heard countless times before, yet tonight it felt sharp as though a gunshot had broken the silence of our home. Sarah was a few minutes late, but it wasn't anything unusual. She called out with her usual cheer, "Honey, I'm home," and I forced a smile, responding in kind. I was sitting in the living room, nursing a glass of bourbon, the flickering light of the television casting long, exaggerated shadows across the room. We had been married for 7 years. 7 years of laughter, shared hopes, and the occasional argument, the kind that most couples have. We had built a life, a comfortable one, but lately, that life had begun to feel fragile, as if it were a fragile vase that could shatter at any moment. Sarah stepped into the living room, her eyes bright, a flush on her cheeks. She smiled, but it was a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Something was wrong, and my stomach twisted with a sense of dread. It wasn't like the smile I was used to, not the one I saw when she was truly happy. This one was forced, too cheerful, and it felt wrong. Over the past few months, she had become distant, like a stranger in my own house. I noticed the hushed phone calls, the sudden need to go out for girls' night, and the new perfume she was wearing. I wasn't blind, I knew something was happening, but I had held on to the hope that I was mistaken. "How was your dinner with Emily?" I asked, trying to sound casual, though my heart was thumping heavily in my chest. She shrugged, the gesture overly nonchalant. "Oh, it was fine. You know, the usual." She moved closer to me and I could smell a faint, unfamiliar cologne mixing with her perfume. It wasn't a scent I recognized. I felt a chill run down my spine, but I forced myself to remain calm. "I made some coffee. Want some?" I asked, trying to keep things normal, though everything inside me screamed to confront her right then and there. I needed to stay in control, though. I needed more information. "Sure," she said, following me into the kitchen. There was an energy about her I hadn't seen in months, a sickening vitality that made me feel uneasy. I poured her a cup and handed it to her, watching her sip it, wondering if she could see the storm brewing inside me. "You seem energized," I said, hoping she would say something, anything that would give me more insight into what was going on. She chuckled as if she were trying to cover her tracks. "Just had a good night. It's always nice to be around the girls." She took another sip, her eyes scanning the room but avoiding my gaze. I said nothing, merely nodding and starting to clean up the dishes. She kept talking about work, rambling on about deadlines and meetings, filling the silence with meaningless chatter. I didn't care. I wasn't listening. All I could focus on was the video I had been planning to show her for weeks now. I finished cleaning up and walked back into the living room. I grabbed the remote and switched the TV to the news, though it wasn't the news I was interested in. I wasn't looking for entertainment. I was looking for the moment I had meticulously planned for. I had set up hidden cameras around the house weeks ago, knowing something wasn't right. And last night I had found the proof I needed, the video of her in a cheap motel with another man. I had watched it, replaying it over and over, each detail burned into my memory, the way she looked at him, the way she touched him, the way she moaned in a way I hadn't heard in years. The video was brutal, undeniable, and it shattered me. But more than that, it gave me control. It gave me the power to expose her. "What are you doing?" she asked, her voice laced with curiosity but also with a hint of nervousness. "Just checking something," I said, my voice even betraying none of the chaos I felt inside. My fingers trembled slightly as I opened the folder containing the video. I turned the screen toward her, watching her reaction. Her face went pale as she saw the video. Her eyes widened in horror, her hand flying up to her mouth. The coffee cup slipped from her fingers and crashed to the floor, staining the carpet with its dark contents. She stumbled backward, her eyes fixed on the screen as if searching for a way to escape. "What is that?" she whispered, her voice trembling with fear. "You know what it is, Sarah?" I said, my voice low and steady. "It's you. Last night. With him." She took another step back, her breathing ragged, panicked. No, this can't be." She looked around the room, her eyes darting from corner to corner, as if hoping she could find a way to talk her way out of this. "You thought you could lie to me?" I said, my anger now simmering just beneath the surface but my voice still calm. "You thought I wouldn't find out. But I did." "I don't know what to say," she stammered, tears beginning to well up in her eyes. But they weren't tears of remorse. They were tears of fear. "How about I'm sorry?" I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. She said nothing, just stared at the screen, her face a mask of shame and disbelief. I could feel the bile rising in my throat, the disgust, the betrayal. But I couldn't look away. This was it. This was the moment I had waited for, the moment I had planned for. She had betrayed me and now I had proof. I closed the laptop, the image of her with him burned into my mind. You have a choice to make, Sarah, I said, my voice soft but firm. You can either pack your things, leave and we never speak again, or we can drag this out. A long drawn-out divorce where I'll make sure everyone knows what you did, your family, your friends, your co-workers. I have enough evidence to make sure you never work again. Her eyes filled with panic. She had been so sure she had the upper hand, so confident I wouldn't find out. But now she knew she had been wrong. Her face twisted in a grimace as she realized that I held all the power now. I don't want that, she whispered, her voice barely audible. Then pack your things, I said, my voice devoid of any emotion. I'll call you when the lawyers have worked out the settlement. I want you gone. This is a bad dream, she muttered. She nodded, tears streaming down her face, and turned to leave. She didn't fight, didn't deny anything. She simply accepted it. And I knew in that moment that it was over. I watched her walk to our bedroom, quietly packing the things she had collected over the 7 years we had been together. 7 years, gone in an instant, thrown away for a cheap affair. I walked over to the bar, poured myself another glass of bourbon, and watched her, silently, as she packed her bags and walked out the front door. It was done. She was gone. And I was free. The next morning I got dressed and left the house. I had a plane ticket to a place I had always wanted to visit, a place I would go alone to heal. I had won this battle. I had destroyed her world, but now I needed to rebuild mine.